You're listening to the Practical Wealth Show with Curtis May.
Welcome to the Practical Wealth Show. And so I have an awesome guest today for you guys, Jen Du Plessis. Well, she does a lot of stuff. I'm actually going to tell you, but she's America's Mortgage Mastery Mentor, but she inspires, trains loan officers, entrepreneurs, real estate agents who are overwhelmed, stressed out, and sabotaging their personal lives for the sake of their business. How about that, guys? You can't work all the time. And how to multiply their results in record time and have the courage to say yes to their personal lives, which sometimes means saying no to clients. So Jen, welcome to the Practical Wealth Show.
Thank you so much, Curtis. I'm so excited to be here. We've had a lot of fun in the green room already.
Right. Y'all know we've talked about wellness and all kinds of stuff for like 15 minutes when we start recording. But so this is fun. And so Jen, tell them, because I mentioned you were in the industry for 37 years, and really now you're kind of like a global speaker, which is really cool. So I want to be like you when I grow up. But tell them what I didn't tell them, and then let's help these guys, build a business and have a life at the same time.
Yeah. And I mean, that's really the most important thing for me, these days. And these days, being defined in the last 12, 15 years, as I've struggled, like everybody else. I mean, I'll back up and say, I retired from active origination in the mortgage business 3 years ago. So I was in the business for 35 years. That was my sort of magic number. I had a magic age that I wanted to be when all this happened as well. And so that was my exit strategy. I started a podcast 7.5 years ago. So I'm one of the veterans in podcasting. It's called Mortgage Lending Mastery. And it was, I was looking for all kinds of, not expensive, but high-end words, and I shouldn't sometimes, right? But it was the springboard for me to be able to grow into, if you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it was taking me from a solopreneur into a business owner.
Yeah.
And that was the springboard for me. And, I went into that realm and, decided that it was, time to move on and to share my story with everybody. And that was really how that all kind of came about. And, I became one of the top speakers and still am in that space, just training and mentoring and coaching loan officers and real estate agents. It just drove me nuts that they we're still doing the same thing. And they were on that crazy rat race wheel and, working really hard. And I had cracked the code, but the reason I cracked the code is because I had my own issues to contend with, right? Okay. I was that person. And
necessity is the mother of invention. Right?
Oh, it definitely is. Definitely is. So so I had done that and said, okay, so how do I work less and make more? I mean, this is something that we all ask ourselves all the time. And there has to be a better way. And why can't I crack this ceiling? Why am I, tapped out? And, I realized I didn't have infinite energy on my own, and I needed to change some things. So that's really what we did. And now, I've got 4 businesses that I run. They're all doing well. I'm in the entrepreneurial quadrant of Rich Dad, Poor Dad now. And, wrote a book and wrote another book. It's, it's just an exciting time for me right now. But yeah, it all started with me being in the mortgage business and, selling and selling my clients, creating great relationships, and then taking every dollar that I made and turning that into building an empire of, I don't call it an empire, my little empire, right?
That's right.
But, building business that right now I don't have to work, right? All of my properties, I don't have much. I don't need much. I don't need anything. I'm not for needing anything, and that's what I did. And so many people in this particular industry don't do that, as you and
why is that, do you think? Because I think the goal of business is we talk to people, our goal is to help our clients become financially free, right?
Yeah.
Meaning you can live like you want to live from the income from your personally invested assets, and income is not wealth. Right. And I think you have to enjoy the trip along the way. I don't believe in living a deferred life. Like the typical financial industry is like, put this money in this account for 30 years.
One day,
then when you retire, that's, in fact, it doesn't even work. I'll show you the math. It doesn't even work. So, I want you to live the best life you can today.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
in the future. And so
Absolutely.
talk about that. It seems like that's your message, and then we'll get a little
it
bit
definitely
tactful,
is my message. And,
mhm.
and we know statistically that when people, like people of our age and stuff that are baby boomers, they're retiring with $10,000, right?
Yes.
We know that that's crazy. And and one of the things I say, in all of my speaking and coaching is live your legacy while you're building it. Work on purpose today, or with purpose, however you want to say that. Work on or with purpose so that you can play with passion. And so many times people walk in and they're sort of meandering around and they're sort of doing activities that they saw someone else do and that they think they should do, but they aren't really doing them that well. And they're trying to balance everything. And I hate balance. And, and there's just no purpose. And I know that that's something that you talk about with your coaching and what you share with people, when you're working with wealth, is making sure that you understand your why.
Yes.
And so when we get to our why, then we just sort of get rid of all the other fluff and we really work on what we intend to or love to do or fulfilled to do. And then we can get in, get out and move on and go live our life and go spend time doing the things that we love to do. So why people don't do it, I don't understand. I think it's a feast or famine thing. I think that, because in mortgage and real estate, it tends to be feast or famine. We do really well because the market gives it to us. And then we don't do well because we don't have we don't have that foundation built to create a business that has nice little rolling hills instead of high peaks and valleys.
That's a foundational built on a foundation of marketing, because you can do really well and the market's doing well. So, the rates are low and everybody's refinancing.
I had my best year ever.
Yeah.
Because COVID.
But what are you doing? Right. Because of COVID. Right. But that worries me. So as a business owner, that worries me, because it's like, all right, I've had months where I've had for me, a really good month. And then the next month it drops down and or I've had a big check hit, but I'm looking at my pipeline. I don't have anything else in it. So before it hits, I can't sleep because I know there's nothing behind it. And it may carry me for a month and a half. And I like to have regular stuff. And there's a business model that creates that. But but let's talk about the clarity, because we talked about clarity in the why. So because sometimes I want to talk about the why. I don't know if I do. I want to get better at helping people seize in on that. Because I think that's, if the how is big enough, the why is big enough, the how doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I think it's hard for people to find their why. They're like, I don't know why. I mean, why, and I think that's a challenge for people. Well, so clarity is the first combination in cracking the code. It's the first combination. And I have 5 of them. Okay. But clarity for me, again, I was tired of the rat race. I'd had enough. Those types of things where, you go, okay, that's it. And you said, whatever is the something of invention. Necessity. There we go. Mm-hmm. So I had that necessity at that moment, and I thought, gosh, there just has to be a better way. Now, at the time, I was doing $50 million in production a year. And I was in the top 1% of loan officers, but I was working 70 hours a week. And I was just, physically, emotionally. I mean, I'm thankful that my husband and I've been married 38 years, but boy, was it tough, right? And I'm thankful that my kids like me because I made them second, right? Or third. For me, it was like, okay, you got to figure out what you actually want, and from the Notebook, remember when he said, what do you want, woman? And it really, that was what I was doing for myself, is saying, what do I really, 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 really want? And so it started with my core values. So that's where it starts for me is, it's funny. I ask people sometimes, so what are your core values? And people go, and they look up and they're trying to find a word and they don't really understand, but then they'll finally come up with an answer and they'll go, family. And I said, well, I don't know. Is that a core value? Is that a strong principle that you believe in? Or was that a question? And if your family is a core value for you, then why are they second? Why are you working at 11 o'clock at night? Why are you leaving a restaurant and taking a phone call? And why are you missing a baseball game because, there'll be another one? So find out what your core values are. And one of the best ways to find out your core values is to do the reverse and say, what, ticks me off, pisses me off. I mean, honestly, if people don't follow up, then accountability is a core value. right? So if it just drives you nuts when people say they're going to do something and they don't do it, then reverse engineer that and say, so accountability or integrity are a core value for me. If it bothers you that people, aren't faith-based, and it just drives you nuts that people are pulling from faith in the country or Christianity or whatever it is, right? Then say, faith is a core value of mine. I think that's a principle and a core principle that you need to have. Well, then look in the mirror. Do you have it? Right. Are you doing it?
Right.
And so I determined my 3 to 5. I say 3 to 5 because I don't think you should have more than 5. Definitely have 3. It's up to you whether you should have 5. But these are personal core values. I'm not talking about the core values of your business because that's a whole other discussion.
Okay.
The core values of yourself. And so those core values for me became the driver, sort of the phone a friend. Every time I made a decision, I referred to these core values, and that would help me make a faster decision. And that decision was always gut decided, using your intuition and your gut to make that decision. So that's one part of clarity, is knowing your core values and really where it starts. And then looking at what fulfills you. When you go to dinner with friends, assuming we do now, right? You go to dinner with friends, you walk out of the restaurant and everybody's like, man, that was so fun. We need to do it again. And we're like, yeah, we should, let's do it. And then nothing happens.
Right.
That's a fulfillment. So how do you make sure that that's part of your world? If fulfillment is spending time with your grandkids, it's working out. In my case, we were talking after, on the green room here, is that, I'm a competitive ballroom Latin and swing dancer. I'm also a competitive markswoman. I am on a shooting team.
Wow.
These are things, and I love being with my grandkids, and my husband and I have a lake house and a boat. And so we love that too. And so all of that and we love to travel, and we're wine people. And so we had to have that come first. Then we filled in our business. And so what happens is, so often people focus on, if you're looking at a wheel and a tire, and for those who don't know the difference, right? The wheel is the steel and the tire is obviously the tire, the rubber.
Right, the rubber.
What people do is that they focus so much on creating their business as being the steel, right? And the tire's their life, and it gets nails and it gets run down and it gets shredded and it doesn't get attention. It gets muddy. And what I want to do is reverse that. Make your life the steel and your business the rubber. I promise you, because what happened with me is, once I figured all this out, and I have one more piece of clarity, but when I figured all this out, I looked back and I went, wait, what? I did $100 million, not 50, but $100 million in the process, elevated myself into the top 200 loan officers in the country, and was only working 4 days a week. So it's all about priorities. It's all about priority management, not time management, priority management. So the third component of clarity is to stop selling everything to everyone, because you're selling nothing to no one. Become niche to grow rich. We've heard that, right? There's riches in niches. It's a scarcity syndrome when you don't niche, because you think that, if I go into one specialty, I'm going to miss everything. The problem is you're missing everything already. So elevate yourself to be the market expert in a couple of areas. That's clarity. And here's how you do it. Same way you do with fulfillment. If you are a real estate agent and you don't like working with kids, with a client that has children, then that's the clarity. I like to work with young professionals who don't have kids. That's the bottom line. For me, it could be an opposite type of thing like that. Or for me, it could be something that you're passionate or love. For example, I grew up in Colorado. So in Colorado Springs, we had NORAD and Fort Carson and the Air Force Academy and Peterson Field. So veterans are really, really special to me. So I specialized in VA loans. Jumbo loans were really important to me because of the complexity and sophistication of putting the loan together, as you and I were talking about being a certified mortgage planner. Love numbers, love creating wealth. So they were just more sophisticated. So that was important to me. And investors, because I was an investor, still am today, right? I was an investor. I could think like they would think. I could help them be that first time investor and move away from the emotional decision into the financial decision of getting a mortgage, right? Well, those are my three niches. And with those three niches and with 22 people, I didn't need everybody, 22 people, I did over $100 million a year in production.
22 clients.
22 referral partners.
Referral partners. Oh, referral partners. Ooh, we gotta come back to that one. Hold on. So
I didn't need everybody. I didn't need a big
right.
Yeah.
I love that because I realized one time I was coaching travel soccer. I was like, I don't have time to do this, but I put it in my calendar. I got practice twice a week. I got games on Sundays, and I actually had one of my better years working less.
Yeah.
And decided to, this is what I'm going to do. It was fun. It was a distraction, and it made me better because, if you're coaching, even like financial coaching, kids, it's the same, and I could practice on the kid, keeping them excited and, motivated and, inspiring them and that kind of stuff. And I found it actually made me a better advisor because I realized it was the same thing, but the kids were, a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But,
it's the old sharpening the axe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have the little scrawny guy and the big brawny guy that are going to chop down this tree. And the scrawny guy keeps taking breaks because he's sharpening his axe. Whereas the brawny guy just says, work, 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 work. And that's what happens is we need to have that opportunity to reset.
And you miss because I realize success is a journey. It's not a destination. And too many people, when you're in these things, commission-based, you think it's when I get here, when I make 100,000 or when I make $500,000, if and when, but you work all the time, your health is bad, and you have to, I love that. Because a lot of it's the business. I always tell people, look, your financial plan, this is what I say, precedes your business plan. Right? Because you've got to know what you want. What do you want your life to look like? What do you need to do? And then the business is there to serve you. See, so it goes back to your analogy of we make the business the wheel. Your life needs to be the wheel. And then the business is, and now you got to create the marketing and the people that you like, that you enjoy to work with to allow you to generate the revenue it generates so that you can take 3 vacations a year. So you can work for it. I've decided I was going to work this summer. It's messed up. I went on vacation. I was trying to play catch up, but I only want to work 4 days a week. I don't want to work past 6 o'clock, and I've just decided, I told my assistant, look, I don't schedule any appointments for this. So we've got to schedule it in on, this is my buffer day or my organized, case prep day. And I want to work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday, I want to work on marketing. So I was like, this is how I want to do it. And then I want to work on Saturday. I just decided that's what I want my life to look like. So you really have to make that decision.
And the thing is, some of your clients will like that. As you said in my introduction, as I talked about, is that you're saying yes to you and rather, which means sometimes saying no to clients. I like to say that be as good to yourself as you are to your business. And some clients will and some won't. And so what? You have to move on.
But successful clients appreciate that.
Oh, they love it. They love it. And they're so loyal and they'll wait in line. I mean, it's the difference between being in demand versus being on demand.
Yes. Yes.
Shifting yourself from being everyone's beck and call person.
Because people are too, like, oh, here's my cell phone. Here's my GPS. I'm available anytime. Call me. No, don't call me. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't call me after this.
No.
Don't. I tell people, look, if you don't want to think and you just want to fund your 401k and not think about your money, don't call me. So I try to be very, polarizing. I always tell people good marketing is a process of disqualification. So you,
as I've mentioned in a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things. Even getting a mortgage is a process of elimination.
Yes.
And I think that's, if we can look at life and say, what can we eliminate to simplify and really focus in and hone in on laser focus on the activities and the people that complement us, not complicate us, that move our business forward, that allow us to live our legacy while we're building it.
Let's go back to I did this with 22 referral partners.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's break out. This is very tactical, guys, because I think, I don't care if you're in a service-based business. I want you, don't hear this and say she was doing this in mortgages and it wouldn't work for me. Business is business. Okay. And so the work is hearing this and figuring out how can I make this work for me. See, if you don't want to do that, you're lazy. Okay. And you deserve to be broke. No, did I say that out loud? All right. So, so let's talk about the referral partner strategy and can you break that out a little bit? That's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, again, we don't have infinite energy. I can't serve everybody. And this is where we have to say, we can't work with, we can't be everybody's beck and call girl. I can't be in demand all the time. I have to be at a place where I'm on demand. For me, it relates back to, you have an MD, and yes, they make a lot of money. A doctor makes a lot of money, but the surgeon makes more. Right. Yeah. So I'm the expert, and you'll wait for a year for an appointment with a surgeon. Yeah. And we don't want to do that because we want to have a good customer base. But I liken it to this, and this is where I started drawing it out. When you buy, say, Verizon, and you buy the basic plan, the premium plan, and the elite plan, the basic plan has 5 things. The premium plan has 12 things or 7 things. And then the premium plan has it all, right? It's more expensive, but you get more. And so for me, the way that I drew out my relationships with my clients, and I have something I teach called how to go from intro to income, because so often we meet people and we just show up and throw up with them. And then we don't have a reason to go back and talk to them because we gave them everything. And we walk out and we high five ourselves and go, yeah, that was a great meeting. And then crickets. Nothing happens because there's no reason to work with them. So what I did was, and I still do it today, and I have clients, not clients, but referral partners that I work with that, they get the basic me, they get some emails, I call them every once in a while, that kind of thing. But those that have shown interest in me, and so we're not talking about finance, the money part of a premium plan, we're talking about giving in the premium plan. So for those people in that category who were my top referral partners, and again, there were 22 of them in the spectrum here, I gave them things, but I gave more to those who were giving more to me. And it wasn't tit for tat. It was just that I had a requirement, that if you'd like for me to do all of this for you, I'd like for you to do a couple things for me. And so that's what we did. And I held them accountable to that, because accountability is one of my core values.
Right.
In my business. So they got that from me as long as they stood in that good grace. It's sort of like you get an A+ in your class as long as you maintain it. And so in those categories, I would bend over backwards for them. I would be available on weekends. But they didn't call me because they knew, but I would be available for weekends and evenings. But someone who just called me out of the blue and said, I didn't give you the time of day before, but all of a sudden, the world's falling around me and I have your card, so I'm calling you. I wouldn't call back. They didn't, honestly, they just didn't deserve that. So creating $100 million business or production was, my focus was on the 22. There were peripherals who sent business, and that's great. But 33% of my business came from financial planners and divorce attorneys. 33, and literally every year it was 33 point whatever, or 34 point this, or 32.8. 33% in the second tier was from my database. I call it my community. My community, because of the acres of diamonds that you already have under your feet. So work your acres of diamonds, the people you already have. And so that was my entire community. And then the other 33% came from other referral partners. And that really was the breakout of my business for a multitude of years where, I just was focused in a way that it just came out 33 and a third. You never want everything to be in one basket. You don't want everybody. So those referral partners were anyone, in my definition, anyone who is giving me 2 quality referrals a month. So think about this. If you have, let's say you have 12 people, I call them my apostles.
Okay. 12 apostles. Yeah.
Yeah. They're my apostles. They follow me. They believe in me, right? If they're giving me 2 quality referrals per month, then I'm getting 24 referrals per month. I'm getting 488 referrals per year. Right. And my close ratio is 87%. Right there. That's a top producer.
Yeah.
In any business. I don't care what it is. That's a top producer. And then my A's gave me 1 quality referral a month. That's 12 times 24, right? So there we go. And now we're adding it up. And then my others, my follow-up category had to give me, and I required it, by the way, had to give me 1 quality referral every quarter. So the things I did for them cost them giving me one quality referral. Well, you have to know what a quality referral is for yourself. You have to make sure you're clear on it. And that clarity, right? Niches. I want those types of loans. That doesn't mean they're not going to give me other referrals. It just means that's what I'm marketing. I'm not marketing everything. It's like a brown paper bag. If you market yourself like a brown paper bag, then when I get it, I'm going to go, I don't know what's in it. Is it a sandwich? Is it money? Is it poo-poo? What's it? Because that's the first thing everybody thinks of brown paper bag, right? So, and I'm going, oh, I don't know. Oh, is it moldy? Is it ready? Is it a bug? What is it? I don't know what I'm getting. So instead, market yourself in that clarity piece as the Tiffany box. I know when I go to Tiffany's, it's going to cost more. I know that when I go to Tiffany's, I'm going to have a beautiful experience because they're going to open the doors for me. They're going to have champagne for me. People are going to pay attention. And I don't care that it costs more money. I care to get the experience because I know it's going to happen every time. So if I can build an experience like this for my referral partners, imagine what I can do when I build the experience for my clients too. And it becomes this revolving door of referral business that comes to me rather than me chasing.
Yeah. Yeah. And oh my God, that's a whole talk. I mean, like, you don't understand. She just gave you like $1 million idea. Okay. Yeah. So we didn't talk about SEO or social media marketing. She said 22 people. And so the other thing that's interesting is that the real estate agents, which most mortgage people go after, was not in your first. That wasn't.
I only had 4 in the 22 that were my top people. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So let's talk about me first.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this, a similar process, and I like the good, better, best. Here's what you get here's what I require.
Yeah.
And then, but I was not sure, and hopefully y'all can translate some of this, but this is about Curtis for about 2 seconds here, right? Is what to give them. Like, so for example, I'm really good at marketing.
So you can help them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can help you. Yeah. And if I can help you, you got referrals to give me, right? And because I'm getting you new business. So I'm helping, I'm not taking, and I'd rather lead with, let me show you how to grow your revenue. Let me show you how to drive an inbound business. Yeah. And if you want to be in this like core meeting, maybe I do once a month. This is what it takes.
This is what it takes. This is what it costs.
So is it something like that I could?
Yeah, I think one thing that I could share with you is that when I'm coaching solopreneurs, and I mean, again, I'm coaching everybody, so it doesn't matter. But when I'm coaching these everybody, I think that in sales and in entrepreneurship, and because we're all in sales, whether we own our business or not, right? So there's 4 things that I think that we do. There's 2 that are on the marketing side and 2 that are on the fulfillment side. So the first thing is I think that we're a growth consultant. Our job is to help other people grow their business, and in helping them, our business will grow as well. So whenever I'm meeting with anyone, if I were meeting with you, I'd say, tell me about, I always ask these 4 questions, but, just tell me about your business. See if it's a qualifier. Do you fit this criteria? Because if someone's only doing, 5 deals a year, they can't be an A+ for me because I need 2 a month.
Right.
So they can't. So I already know what direction I'm going to go with them. But again, we show up and we throw up. We don't ask these poignant questions to tell me about your business, right? So tell me about some of your struggles and challenges and what have you already done? Because I don't want to provide a resolution that they've already tried, because then they'll close off to me, right? Yeah, I already tried that. And they probably tried it wrong, right? But it's not for me to gauge right now. It's just for me to say, okay, that's what you tried. Now, maybe I can help you. Then we ask them, who do you want to be connected with to move your business forward? Who are the connections you want? Not the clients you want, not a referral from you, but more the connections. Who do you need? What's happening in your practice? I need a content writer. I need in the case of a real estate agent, maybe they need a better title company. Maybe they need a home inspector, right? So who do you need? Who do you want to be connected with to help move your business forward? And then the last question, and this question I ask when I'm at networking, I forget all the others and just talk about this one, is tell me what's happening in your business right now. What kind of projects are you working on, and how might I be able to help you? So maybe they're about ready to have an event and they need promotion. Maybe they have a listing and they want help with the listing. Maybe they're writing a book and they just need a ghostwriter. I mean, it just depends on what they need. And the great thing about this is that I sit there and I go, I don't know that person. but I'm going to go find that, and it grows my business. And then when I find that person, I ask them the questions.
Because if you know, you are looking for that person, like it'll show up for you. You may have not, it's like what they call a reticular activating system. So now, absolutely, when you meet people, it's like, oh, okay. That's why I go to network events. I don't go to network events for clients. I'm looking for this, which my partner. I'm looking for partners. And that's anything.
That's the problem with networking. Yeah, that's probably because people go, oh, I networked and I didn't make any money. You don't go networking to make money. You go there to find and identify potential partners that you could have. And then you got to have these really, really good meetings with them that take you on a journey. So the first thing is the growth consultant. Mm-hmm. The second is, if you find that they're going to work with you, and by the way, when you walk into a meeting, it's not, oh, I hope they like me. I hope they like me. I hope they like me. I'm going to spit all over them and I hope they like me. And it's, you know what? I know that there's going to be three things that happen. You're either going to decide to work with me. You may decide not to work with me, and that's okay. And by us telling ourselves that and them that, it is okay. Now we can walk away going, hey, it's all right, because now I know. It's better to know than wonder, right? Yeah. And the third is, I may decide that this is not a good fit for me. Whew. Wow. We have the opportunity to actually tell them no. Just because I started the meeting doesn't mean I have to work with them. Right. They may not compliment me. They may not fit my criteria, right? So we have this meeting. And so if we decide that we're going to move forward, the second piece of this is now we're a strategic partner and we have to strategize. And that's where these three categories, that you said good, better, best, and that's great. That's where these three categories come in. We're going to strategize, and to what level. So will I do X, Y, and Z for someone who's giving me 1 referral a month versus someone who's giving me 2? So to what caliber will you give yourself, give your energy and your time? And so you have to figure that out. You have to figure out, will I be available for you on weekends? If you're in the second category, maybe, but maybe you don't call them back right away versus the other one, you call them back right away. So you have to decipher, what are all the things that I could do as a strategic partner? Could I call their database for them? Could I do annual reviews for them? Could I promote them? Do I have the wherewithal to promote everybody? Mm-hmm. My database would get really upset if every day I was promoting somebody. Mm-hmm. So I have to be very specialized in that, mm-hmm. and be picky about who I'm promoting and what I would do. Will I do an open house? Will I do a broker open? Will I invest money? Will I do that for all of them or just some of them? Yeah. So that's how you're sorting through. So those are the first two. So that's marketing. When we go into fulfillment, it's being a expert communicator. Expert. When someone gives you a referral, they expect to be communicated with. You doggone better well have some unbelievable systems. And that's another one of the codes, right? Mm-hmm. Is you better have systems to help you communicate with the client, with your team, with the exterior, because going into la la land doesn't work for me. That's why a lot of times we get one referral and we wonder why we don't get more. Right. Because if you don't call them back, you make the referral look bad. Yeah. Right. Well, they can't call me. In fact, everybody knew in my practice, if they called and asked for the status, I flipped a lid. Because that's when you lost, because you're always depositing or withdrawing from the trust account with every communication that you have. Yeah. So we want to make sure that they never have to call and find out. I mean, you've done it with a doctor. You go and you get blood work, and then you're like, I wonder what's going on. I'm going to have to call them. And if they just called me and told me, I would feel differently about them. So that's an effective communicator. And then for me, the last piece of this is client advocate. And of course, this stems back to my core values, where I'm a client advocate. There is nothing I will do to ruin accountability, integrity, my faith, my family, right? My stability. Those are all my core values, by the way. There is nothing I will do to ruin that with a client just for the sake of a referral partner. And my referral partners know that. Don't come to me and go, well, we don't want to tell them. No, I am a client advocate. Right. I advocate for my client. And I won't do anything to ruin my reputation, to do anything illegal, to do anything outside of compliance, et cetera. I just won't do it. And that's our role. that's our role as a solopreneur, business owner, a sales person. Those are our roles. And so every time that we're meeting someone, we're trying to identify where they fit and how they can fit and how can I serve, right? Serve them, because that's when my business will grow. So these 22 people, 4 were real estate agents, majority of them were financial planners. And I know 3 or 4 of them were actually my I call them alumni clients. They're not past because they come back in. It's an infinity.
Right.
Get a deal, close a deal, get a lead, close a lead, business. This is an infinity. 2 or 3 or 4, I can't remember how many now, but they were actually providing me with business, and they didn't have to give me business. They were in a different category as a referral partner, but they just appreciated so much, what we did, and it created a revolving door.
If y'all can hear this and take this one idea, I think in 90 days to 6 months, you could literally double your business.
Well, that's why I say multiply your results in record time.
Yeah. I mean, that's just weird. Y'all don't even want to talk about none of that. This is goal. So 2 things. One, did you have a version of this for clients or no? Okay. All right. And then did the other people know each other? Like, did you do group events for them, or was this all one-on-one in terms of how you help them individually?
Yeah.
Consultant.
This goes a little deeper because these are people that are actively giving me referrals.
Yeah.
And so let's call that a fish, right? Giving me fish. I had a whole other spectrum of people, 4 different categories of people making connections, giving me fishing poles. Some of the people that were giving me fish were in those groups, and vice versa. Some of the people came into those groups and then became referral partners. So I discerned the difference. So when I'm meeting with someone, I'm trying to figure out, are they someone who can connect with me?
Yeah.
They're better at connecting, or are they someone who can actually give me referrals? Because again, this goes back to networking. We go into this big networking room. In this room, we go, oh, no, you can't give me business, so I don't want to work with you. Well, we're leaving a lot on the table because maybe we don't know who they know. Right. We don't know who they know. Like being one, you and I were talking about the green room, being part of Les Brown and Les Brown Jr. and stuff. I was one person away from them. That was a connection. If I had walked away and said, well, you can't give me business, so, you are not a person that I'm going to coach, and I walked away from that, I never would have had the opportunity to meet Les Brown.
Yeah, it's not who you know, it's who they know. Right. And so you have to.
Yeah. Well, and it's better when they know you.
Yes. That's I would tell people, it's like this network. I would say you got to invest your mindset, your skill set, and your network. Right. And who you know. But then I say it's really more important. This is why you have to, what Russell Brunson calls publish. Who knows you?
Yeah. Who knows me?
Yeah. You show up as authority. Right. Yeah. Like, so you show up as authority, and you're not, yes. Gimme. Yeah. Because you need to be able to give, like, so when you having a podcast, for example, provides you platform. Everybody wants to promote something. And so if you can provide that for them, then, it's not like you're looking for something back, but it's just the law of reciprocation. Now you have a relationship.
It absolutely.
And you'll never not hear from me again, Jen. Because
well, it's go first, right? Yeah, right. Accountability, right?
Yeah.
No, but it's go first. It's always go first. But so there were people in other categories, 4 different categories that I had for different purposes, and we had monthly meetings and quarterly meetings and events and stuff together. So it was sort of like creating mini masterminds, there. And I'm a certified mastermind facilitator. So for me, that was creating that mastermind that said, I don't expect that you're going to give me a referral for a borrower who's going to buy a house now or refinance. But I want to be referred to. I want your whole database so that I could learn about who those people are, because they already own homes. And I don't care that they own the home already. I want to manage their mortgage, just like you manage assets. I want to manage their debt, right? I'm going to manage their mortgage.
Nobody talks to them about the debt, but most of the assets on their balance sheet flows through the liability side.
Absolutely.
And nobody, that's what I learned when I was doing mortgage planning, right?
Yeah.
Mortgages under management, right?
Yep.
Just the idea of
mortgages under management.
Because our money is debt, right? So they need to manage that.
Yeah.
We're more off to another thing. I'm not going to go there because I want you to finish your point.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. So, if someone, people, everybody, it's funny. I have a chiropractor. I'm like, who's your client? And he goes, anybody with a spine. And I'm like, okay, well, that's like selling everything to everybody. That doesn't work for me. Right? That's right. But it's the same kind of thing in the mortgage, in mortgage and real estate is like anybody who lives in a house, right? Because if they're living in a house, they either rent or they own. Right. And I can help both. Right. But I don't say anybody who lives in a house. But the key thing here is that when someone has a mortgage and they got it from somebody else years ago or whatever, I know that person is not connecting and creating an infinity. They've done, got a lead, closed the deal. And this happens in all businesses. Get a lead, go take care of their plumbing, closed it, done. Where's the plumber again? You don't hear from him ever. Right. So, and
you're out of business. If you don't,
you're out of business.
You're out of business.
You're always using binoculars. You always got binoculars. Where's my next guy? Instead of just looking at the acres and acres of diamonds you already have here. So if I can connect with a client that is not being served by a loan officer after the closing, right? Because they sold the rate, sold the product, never showed up at closing, never to be heard from again. If I can help them and manage their mortgage and say, let me manage it, it's complimentary. And now I adopt them into my world because they've been orphaned by their last lender, right?
That's right.
I adopt them into my world and I treat them like every other client. Then it's going to include the phone calls that say, by the way, I'm looking to expand my business to work with more financial planners. Who do you know that you feel comfortable referring me to?
Yes.
Right. And by the way, who is the real estate agent that helped you get their house? I'm looking to expand my business to work with more real estate agents. I'd love the opportunity to work with them. So I don't care about that. Hear me right. I do care, but I don't care about that specific client. I care about what that client can give me. And that's what I'm looking for in connections too. So we have to not put a period on everything we do, but a ...
Yeah.
Now what? Yeah. Next thing. How can, right?
Jen, I could talk to you all day. Do another part two on this, but one of the things I hear throughout this is leadership. You have to lead. You have to be a leader.
Lead the relationship.
Yeah, you have to lead the relationship and not be out there just hat in hand. Can you give me some business, right? And so you have to drive it. I think, and so that's attitude. That's you getting better. What I call in my basketball terminology, working on your game so that you're best in class. So that
absolutely
it's not an honor, but they want to work with you because you're the best, you're the expert, you're the authority.
Well, you want to be undeniably the best.
Yes.
At what you do. Undeniably. Yes. And they can't know that unless you undeniably function like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh. There's no other alternative.
Yeah, there's no alternative. And so now because you're doing that allows you to the whole only purpose to be in business is to live the life you want on your terms.
Yeah, not to work harder.
Not to work harder, right? And because only 68 hours, 160, 2 hours in a week. So there's only so much you can do. And so if you want to expand, I want to have time to do today how you took a podcast, took you from solopreneur to business owner. So we might have to schedule an offline call for that one. But tell them, Jen, this is so awesome. And what I want y'all to hear, guys, is that we talked about, her background was in the mortgage business, but if you're a service professional, y'all need to reach out to her because I have like 2 pages of notes from this conversation. All right. And I'm gonna go back and listen to it again because she just gave y'all $1 million idea. Okay. If you're listening, if you're because I don't care what business you think you're in, you are in the marketing business. So until you understand that, you'll always have up and down income. That's what happened to me once I realized what business I was in. So if you get referrals, see, this is just one strategy called, strategic. I call it strategic alliance marketing, right? And she just broke down and gave y'all a masterclass on one asset, and so you should have 4 or 5 what I call reaching out methods, right? But pick one. and master that over this next quarter or 6 months and double your business. And then you can do, you're worried about, oh, should I be on Twitter? And, should I do Instagram and Clubhouse? Boom, pick this. As you have a database, you have people you already know. Let's go there. Go after the diamonds, acres of diamonds that are right there. That is so powerful. Yeah. Jen, what's the best way for them to, you have a podcast, and where you want to go?
I have two podcasts. The second podcast is called Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. Mm-hmm. So we explore that as well. Like, how do we break through? I have a TV show coming up that will be, I'm excited. Matter of fact, Les Brown is one of the back people on this.
Okay.
And James Dentley, Dr. James Dentley, who is one of Les's best friends. It's called Tell Me I Can't. So we explore ways that, people have been told they can't do something, and how we, go over that. And that's because that was my story. I was told I couldn't do anything. I'd be worth nothing, all of those things as a child. And I proved everybody wrong. And now I'm in a place where I don't need to prove anybody, anything. And I have a book coming out called Impact. We went, that was published or launched July 16th. We went number 1 in 2 categories, and we are bestseller in another 9 categories. And we have another book. I have another book coming out tomorrow called, what is it? So this would be August 11th, so that when this gets published, another book come out, Step into the Spotlight. And that's a collaborative book. Impact was a collaborative book as well. It's a bunch of acronyms. Inspiring, motivational, powerful acronyms for cognitive thinking. I have some of the most powerful people in the industry, out in the world there. Excited about that. And then I do have another book coming out later on, which will be called Tell Me I Can't as well. And we're writing that for distribution or submission to Hallmark and Lifetime for a movie. So you're going to see one of those. But yeah, we have all kinds of stuff going on. The thing is, I coach loan officers and real estate agents and mentor them. If you are not one of those categories, I actually don't coach those anymore. I have infinite, right? Or non-infinite energy. I don't have infinite energy. Right. So what I do is masterminds. And so if you're interested in that, we have the Business Booster Mastermind. And you can just go to businessboostermastermind.com and you can get information about being part of that mastermind. It is an application process. We only want cool people. We only want positive people. We only want people that want to take action. And in that mastermind, we meet regularly via Zoom. And then we have quarterly pulled together an actual mastermind where we come together and we mastermind. And it's sort of like a retreat mastermind. So that's what I do now is I pull people together. And through the process of that, you get, my expertise, but everybody else's expertise too, because mine is not the end all be all. Right. And I'm not crazy to think that. And I love collaborating with people, helps my business grow as well. So that would be the best way. And of course, Jen Du Plessis is everywhere, jenduplessis.com as well. So,
okay.
We're going to a whole mess
make sure you send me that. I'm going to put all that in the show notes so they can reach out to you. I'm hoping maybe we can figure out a way to collaborate, because I love all that stuff. Yeah. And this is like after it's really like a tie. Like I love marketing as much as the finance part, because if marketing in my mind is the key, or business development and being a growth consultant. I have somebody I was working with and we were going over their finance stuff, but he really didn't have any revenue. So I was like, why don't you have any revenue? And I just look, all right, I booked the time. So I spent 45 minutes with her. I guess now being a growth consultant with her, because I said, because I understand it, and I know that struggle, but I need to organize it from just listening to you, because I would morph into it because I just want to help people, because I have people to help me, and I'm struggling.
Well, and the key thing, I want everybody to hear this too, because you're saying it's like, oh, I'm a growth consultant. That's great. That's giving. And I get that. This is where you want to move into the strategic partner piece of it, because what we tend to do is we're in our own little boats, right? And we have one oar and we're spinning around in circles, and we hit every once in a while, a little fish flops over and we're like, thanks, that was great. Let's do it again. And then we go in our little boats again. I want to get in a boat with people, and certain people, not everybody, but I want to get in the boat. That's where you go from being a growth consultant and being able to say that these are your struggles and I may know how to solve them for you. And then they can ask those same questions to you. What are your struggles? And if they can help you solve them, then you want to get in the boat together and strategically plan, have regular meetings, regular everythings where you're holding one another accountable and saying, what's our next project? What are we going to do next? Let's have an event together. Let's have a clubhouse meeting together. Let's create something together, right? And you're strategically helping one another and holding each other accountable. So it's great that you want to give and you want to do the growth consultant piece. And I always do that too, because I said, go first, give first, right?
Yeah.
But there is a point where you have to discern which one of these people can I take to that next level rather than just being a growth consultant, because it feels good, because that is where revenue doesn't happen. It feels good and people will reciprocate, but not everybody. So we want to go to the next level and say, look, I'm happy to give all this to you. And in turn, what can you do for me?
Right? Yes, that is, because somehow missed the strategic alliance or the revenue part of it. So I spent a lot of time. All right, what did I do that's going to lead to a strategic partnership or a client? Yeah. And that's connecting those dots so that you're always being effective in what you're doing.
Right. Instead of laying in bed at night and going, I just feel like I go everywhere. I give to people. I help people. I ask people. I connect with people. How come I'm not getting anything back? Because there is a line where you have to draw and say, you're someone I want to work with. Let's do it.
Yes. Wow. Okay. All right, Jen, I'm gonna let you go because I I got a client text me like, are we going to do this? It was a pleasure. This was so awesome. You don't know, even just for me, if I don't care if y'all are not paying attention, she just made me a lot of money. Okay. It just clears out, clearing out some thoughts. And I would love to, we'll talk later, like maybe get you back on for a mastermind and then we can,
oh my gosh, I'd love to do. Yeah. This is kind of a fun thing. Real quick. This is a kind of a fun thing. If you're listening and you would like to be on this podcast with another group of like 4 or 5 people, we actually can do a mastermind podcast. And I've done that in Mortgage Lending Mastery, and it's super powerful. Bring your challenges, bring your expertise in, and together, Curtis and I will help you among the other people that will be on that call as well. So if you're interested in being part of that, just reach out to Curtis and say, hey, I want to be on a panel. I want to be on a mastermind panel. And that's the kind of podcast that would be just explosive.
Come on.
Hope you want to do it because I just set it up.
I listen. I do want to do it, and this is not going to be. Oh, this is great. I'm going to make this an appointment, right? Yeah. And I want to fulfill. So that is brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. And because you want to, steel sharpens steel. And how do you take it from this one-way communication called a podcast to really involving people and letting them ask the questions they need to have to solve the problem, so they can have their breakthrough. That's really what I want. For our clients and for our listeners. So this has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. And I love talking shop. I love talking marketing because marketing is the keys to the kingdom. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Practical Wealth Show. Make sure you reach out to Jen. We're going to have all of her stuff in the show notes, including how we're going to do this podcast thing. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Practical Wealth. To access the show notes and resources, go to practicalwealthshow.com. To get your questions on the show, go to practicalwealthshow.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Practical Wealth.